Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, morning. I'm first of all, I want to thank you all of you to join us today. I'm thrilled to be part of this conversation here and to be able to listen all your voices and such experts within the hospitality field, and of course helping our audience if they have questions. I'm already asking you to please send us questions during the session. And of course, we wanted to do this today's streaming because we already had the first Wash Your Hands show last week, and we had so many questions that we thought will be worth it to have a second round. And that's why I really want to thank you for being part of it. And the main topics that we will be discussing today for the audience, so is more about what are the next steps or the procedures that we're implementing as a hoteliers, and of course how we communicate our actions and what is the right way to kind of try and meet that trust for our potential guests and for the reopening scenario. And of course how do we present our products and what changes will be from now on. So those are like the main areas that we'll be discussing. And my name is, well, I haven't introduced myself, but I guess for some of you that you're watching, you know me from previous sessions. If you're not, I'm Maribel. I am brand ambassador here with Women in Hospitality and Travel Tech because they have a wonderful mission here. And also I have my European Sustainable Hospitality Club, which we have some hotels working for sustainability. And so I don't want to talk more. I want you to talk, and I want to start with you on first. And if you can just give an introduction and your company, and of course a little bit about you, and
Sure.
we'll get into details later on.
Sure,
Thank you.
sure. Well, we won't take too much time with that, but I'm Ewan McGlashan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Valor Hospitality from Scotland, but based in the US. So I'm coming today from Atlanta, but we have offices in London, UK, Cape Town, South Africa, Dubai, and Asia, Bangkok, Asia. We're a full-service third-party management company with about 55 plus projects going around the world right now. So yeah, got a pretty good perspective of what's going on around the globe.
Thank you very much. Babetta, tell us, where are you? Where are you? We have a weird background.
I am in a car. I am in a car in a really, really tiny village in the Czech Republic, which is where my mother lives. But usually I live in Prague. And I'm the CEO of a small hotel chain called Boho. We have hostels and we have hotels. We operate within the Czech Republic and also in Africa, in Ghana. And at the moment, we have offered 4 of our properties here in Prague as to the council, and we are accommodating homeless people at the moment to make sure that we somehow survive.
Well, you'll tell us later more about it. Laura, tell us, where are you joining us from?
Hi, nice to see you all. And I'm Laura, and I'm in Palermo at the moment, so in Sicily, south of Italy. And I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Interlude Hotels. That is a small hotel chain, basically with a very small boutique hotel that are all in Sicily and in Tuscany at the moment. So I can talk about a bit about Italy in this moment with you.
Yeah, thank you, Sloan. Joining us from Dallas, right?
Yes. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, everyone. Yeah. So Remington Hotels is a Dallas-based third-party management company. We have 87 hotels across the U.S. So operate in 26 states. So have a broad perspective of the U.S. Everywhere from New York, Boston, down to Miami, Key West, over to San Diego, and all the way up to Alaska. So pretty even footprint throughout the U.S.
Thank you, Sloan. And last but not least, Virginia, where are you from? And tell us a little bit about you.
I am from and I'm in Spain, and I work at the Student Hotel as a country sales manager, and we have 14 operating hotels in Europe. and they are hotels and hybrids. They are PBSA hotels for living and for working.
Okay, thank you very much, all of you. I'm really, really happy to have such a different, approaches and business models here, hotels and management companies, as well as the commercial side of it. So if you allow me to say that, we are really living in a very tough situation and environment. I would love to have this discussion in a different situation, but we have to be realistic, optimistic, maybe, but we have to be realistic. And just today we knew from the World Tourism Organization that we have around 22% down, and from the Q1 tourism globally. So that is a huge impact in terms of revenue, in terms of job losses, in terms of, many down like bad side of it, or impacts, side effects or impacts. So I would love to know, how are you responding, and what are the strategies or steps you're taking in a short or medium term, as well as long term, if you have prepared. So maybe I'd like to start with Sloan, because I saw in Hospitality Net the press release May 4th, and you were explaining about that you are actually part of the Marriott Cleanliness Council, as well as the Hilton Cleanliness, and all these different leading committees. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what are the steps, and then of course I will go with all of you to know more.
Yeah, so thanks. We're a large franchisee of Marriott and Hilton both, so I've got 72 between the two brand families, and then we're part of American Hotel and Lodging Association's Safe Stay Advisory Council. And so, really it's, a couple things. First, it's training for the associates, because we have to train front desk, food and beverage, housekeeping. Every department has to be trained differently around not only how to service the guests, but how to protect themselves. We require all our associates to wear PPE. So all our associates are required to wear masks, and certain functions are required to wear gloves. It then goes as far to talk about kind of social distancing. And so we've got physical distancing requirements within the hotels. In a few of my hotels, my urban hotels, we have a policy where it's only one guest or one associate on each elevator. And then it's a series of policies and training around cleaning. And so that's in the room. If you saw, Hilton came out with their Clean Stay, where they co-branded with Lysol. And it has a series of things that make the guests more comfortable with how they're cleaning the room, high touch point zones, and even has a seal in the room itself. And we've just taken effectively what Hilton and Marriott have done, and we've canvassed the hotel. And we actually have a marketing piece that we've put out to group meeting planners, business contacts, and we have it visible in our lobbies as guests arrive, to make sure that the guest is comfortable in this environment with what we're doing to protect them, and then also protect our associates. And so I think it's a new world until we have a vaccine. I think a hotel's cleaning standards are going to be very visible and on the forefront until we get to a point that we maybe get back to pre-COVID policies. I also think it's going to effectively change how we operate in a big way in certain areas. I think we're seeing mobile key adoption triple. Where people don't want to touch doorknobs, and so skip the desk functions are being utilized a lot now, and I think that's going to be an outcome of this. The other thing is, a lot of our hotels, we're also not providing housekeeping during stayovers, and I think you're going to find that Marriott and Hilton will probably change their policies around housekeeping, and that'll help the profitability owners. But it also, I think, at least in the U.S., you're going to see where daily housekeeping is not the norm over the next several months. So anyways, I could keep going on and on, but I'll stop there. But I think it's first and foremost, it's making the guests comfortable, and your cleaning policy and procedures very visible, both in the public space and in the room.
And we will come back later to that. So how do you ensure that guest experience especially, in more luxury or high-end properties. We'll be back to that. But I want to see what are you doing, for instance, maybe Laura, that you have more, of course, you have hotels in Italy, which is one of the hot destinations, I would say. And also you have more like small properties, right?
Yeah, exactly. What we are doing is considering this moment like a big challenge. So our program is only focused on the comfort and reliability. So this means that we would like to ensure our guests with procedure, operations, risk management in order to guarantee them and also to our employees, of course, that our hotels are safe destination. Of course, you have to consider that we are relatively lucky because Sicily was not so affected in Italy with the spread of coronavirus instead of other regions, of course.
Yes.
And we can say that all Sicily is a safe destination anyway, or is safer than other. But of course, what we would like to do is verify and more qualify our standards in order to taking care more and of our guests. Of course, the guests will be free to say, I don't want that you clean my room in this moment and during my stay, for example. And of course, we won't do that. And but we have to change the way we are going to welcome the guests in our hotel. So we have to train people to do that without feeling the guest like in a hospital, but being in a hotel.
Yes,
So
that's
more
that's
visible.
important. On that note, Yuan, I would love to know, because you have your company is worldwide, you have worldwide operations, so
Yeah.
you are seeing different, speed in changes, not only in government policies, but as well in, in the transition
Sure.
to reopening,
Sure.
or I don't know. Maybe you can tell us what is your position on that?
Well, look, I'm in the same business as Sloan, so I think he spoke for us both there. To be fair, we got Marriott, IHG, Hilton, so we're
Yeah.
obviously adopting all their protocols. We've got a myriad of procedures, as you can imagine, that we share as a team around the globe. We're reopen again in the US. I think Sloan was right. I think online is definitely the way we're going to go. It's technology is going to take over for a while. Health and safety first. It has to be. I think Sloan was talking about the not servicing the room, and I think anybody who's staying for 2 or 3 days, I think what we'll probably see actually is guests being given the option if they want to take points as opposed to having rooms serviced, and I suspect that's certainly likely to happen. In the UK, we're mandated closed, so we have a 17 hotel portfolio between England and Scotland. We effectively shut them down about a month ago. We're hoping they'll be open in the next 4 to 6 weeks. But again, it was a different protocol because the hotels have to be closed for 3 months. You have to have 3 shifts a day, 9 people, 3 people on each shift. You have to make sure that from a fire and life safety perspective, you're covering yourself. And we were actually at some point preparing because we thought a lot of our hotels may in fact become hospitals, temporary.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that didn't happen. National Health ended up, as it happened, they did set up some mobile hospitals and actually had enough beds that could handle it. And really, the worst we're seeing is, we have a huge operation based out of Cape Town, South Africa, and I have various views on COVID, which we're not going to talk about today, but certainly Africa right now is very clear. Is there becomes a point where you can no longer put social health over economic health, and unless this was a plague and everybody was dropping dead, it's apocalyptic, then it's different. But such a massive population and poverty stricken. So we're spending a lot of time right now as a company setting up soup kitchens, food banks. But the real issue in Africa now is it is going to become crime, and it's starvation. I mean, it's not going to be coronavirus isn't going to be the issue in Africa. They're going to have far bigger issues, and certainly the South African economy could ill afford this before we came into this crisis. And so obviously we're helping our clients try to understand what does this look like right now, and how long. For us, we're lucky here in US that we're seeing hotels starting to open again, which is great. Their hotels may not open for another 6 months to a year. I hope that's not the case, but I don't know how much everybody follows what's happening in Africa, but even the international airlines all can't get in. Borders are closed, and they rely so heavily on tourism. So yeah, look, we have an interesting perspective. Thailand, not dissimilar to Africa in some ways. Poverty is an issue down there. Hotels are all closed, but we're starting to see them reopening. And then in the Middle East, UAE, thankfully we had a great call yesterday, and we're seeing properties open. But in terms of procedures, what we're all doing, there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, it's masks, trying to not touch surfaces, keeping the social distancing, wraps in the bathrooms, wipes on hard surfaces, etc. I mean, it's but I don't believe in the new norm. I'm not talking like that. I think that's defeatist. I think we're a business that's interdependent, interconnected. It's the hospitality business, and I think societies and communities in general, it may take a year, but we will be back to normal. Nobody wants to live in a mask and sex clubs. So I'm taking the view that it's miserable right now, but we'll all come back stronger.
I hope so, and I'm glad that you're that optimistic. But on the Africa note, I actually was this morning discussing with some public entities in Kenya, and they were saying we can't rely on domestic market, for instance, as US or Italy or Spain. We just can't. We rely on international travelers. And on that note, I want to talk with Babetta, because I know you're doing things in Ghana and helping as well. So please explain us, what are your position there, and how are you supporting communities?
Well, we've opened a hostel in Ghana 3 years ago now, which has turned into a very profitable operation. So what we've done with the profits, because we kind of felt we own it to the communities there. So we've opened public bathroom, and the plan was to open a whole chain of public bathrooms in Ghana, because sewage is a massive issue in Middle Africa, because there is no sewage system. And I will absolutely agree with what Ewan was saying about COVID not being the main threat in Africa. I think hunger is the one. You can already start seeing it at the moment, which is really scary. The governments, I'm connected with all the main ambassadors from Ghana, who are then ambassading in the other African countries, and everyone shares this really massive threat, and no one knows what's going to happen. And we have to be positive, and we have to believe that what is happening right now is not the new norm, because if this is the case, then third world countries will be even in much thicker, deep situations than they were ever before, and it's really dangerous. So I share the optimism, because I think we have to be optimistic, and if we are the people that can influence what's happening in the industry, then it's our job as leaders to be optimistic.
Absolutely agree, 100%. Couldn't agree more. But you also have hotels in Prague.
Yes,
and hostels.
We have 7 properties in Prague, which at the moment in the Czech Republic, the borders have closed on 14th of March, and the government is basically keeping them closed. They're talking now about September time, that they may reopen to some countries, not to Italy and Spain or US, actually. So they're talking about opening some of the neighboring countries. And for Prague, our market is tourists. There is about, we have about 3,500 hotels in Prague. And if there are no international tourists, then this is going to completely and massively shake up the whole industry. And it's going to impact, I mean, at the moment, the economic impact studies, they're saying there's going to be about 80,000 people without jobs just till the end of June. So it's a bit of a shambles. We in Boho, we've been in a sticky pudding situation ever since COVID started. because we were just about to open a new hotel. And I have very carefully planned our cash flow to make sure that we survive low season, and then we start picking up for Easter with the new opening. And then as we were going to open, we had to close everything. So we've been fighting from day one, which is why we started cooperation with the city council, and we've turned 4 of the Prague properties into homeless shelters. Which is I'm very passionate about this project, because not only we are receiving a very small amount of money for every client that we accommodate, and that about pays for the cost of the accommodation. But I love it also because we've been always our main mission is to what we call make a difference far and near, which is why we operate in Africa actually to begin with, and it just goes fantastically well with who we are and what we do. So we are trying to help, and by the way, at the moment is also helping us to survive.
Thank you, Babetta. Thank you for also what you're doing. And also, I know, Virginia, in the student hotel, you're also kind of accommodating nurses, doctors, and other NGOs. I think Red Cross. You had Red Cross accommodated. What are you doing? Do you still have? I guess you still have some of your properties owned because you also have co-living spaces.
Yeah, we are judging adversity, right? So this is the moment of showing the human part, the human side of us, like you guys were saying. And yeah, we have been reaching out NGOs, people who have been kicked out from their places and hosting in our hotels. And for instance, we work very close with an NGO here in Spain and France. And this is what we need to do now, right? And also we haven't planned so far. It's not planned to close the hotels. We have guests inside because we have students. They have nowhere to go, and we have people co-living that also they cannot leave. So in this sense, we are also taking a lot of measures and advising, with following the measures according to the health authorities and updating, and we have screens in the reception. We have closed all of our restaurant inside, and we just serve breakfast in individual bags, and we put it in one point. And then to help the guests to go through this, because they are students as well, and some they are young professionals, and they are living in little square meters. They are not living in a house. We have passed all of our events virtually, and we are getting a very nice response. We have mindfulness classes, yoga classes, language courses. We have set up tons of activities, stress release, and it's working very well. Yeah, so I think this is what this part of, on a positive note. I think also this is like the part we can see, like we are improving, or we are seeing now the best part of the human being, trying to help.
Yeah. So we are seeing kind of wrapping up, so kind of having all the ideas, of course, reducing touch points in hotels, having better policies, deep cleaning, or even reducing services, but as well helping communities in different ways, according to the communities where we are, and adapting to the current situation. We have a question here for Sloan from Christina. How are you managing the long stays? Are you doing a linen drop?
We are, yes, and we provide housekeeping for the longer stays if they want. It's not a hard and fast. At our extended stay hotels like Residence Inn and Homewood Suites, we are still providing a light touch in between. But yes, we're providing linen and towels if people want them, and we have kind of a delivery option that we've set up. Also, the bathroom amenities, if they run out of those, we have them kind of pre-stocked where we can easily deliver. We also are, while we're not providing housekeeping in most of the hotels for stayovers, we are deep cleaning the rooms more than we ever have before arrival. And so we make that very visible and very clear when people are checking in.
Yes, absolutely. There is another question which is kind of interesting from Joanne. Considering the welcome pack, if it's included in the stay, will have an extra cost for guests? This is for all of you.
Yeah, let me just quickly jump in on that. We've actually had that discussion at length, and we've not done it yet here in the US. We were on a call as a team globally a couple of days ago, and actually we were thinking about doing this possibly in the UK, and kind of trying to make it fun. You know, we can't all just keep making this serious and miserable for everybody. So creating little fun COVID packs that maybe have masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, wipes, etc. And maybe a couple other just fun things in there. So there is a high probability that we'll do that, and we would not add that as an additional cost. That would be something we would do, not to be making overlight of the situation, but doing it in a fun way. That is something that just gets guests really comfortable. But yeah, I think it's a great idea, and it's a good.
Would you like to add something, maybe Babetta or Laura, Virginia? Please do so. What do you consider doing, or what are you doing at the moment?
Well, it's the same. We are trying to do a pack, but we are not calling it COVID pack. Of course, we have to do something, really nice and also not so serious, because otherwise the feeling will be worse. And of course, it's not. It's for free. It's not with a cost, because I don't think it's even a nice thing to do that.
Yes. That takes me to my next question: is how are we ensuring that guest experience with this hospital environment, with the PPE, or with all the the procedures that we will have implemented, or the social distancing between guests and the associates or employees? How are we seeing this new paradigm or experience from the check-in to any interaction that we can have with guests?
Well, for sure, we can say some barrier will be there, but for small hotels, it will be easier. We are studying, for example, the possibility of making a unique formula for our guests. So that means that our guest can take the hotel for his own. So we are just working for them, and there is only him and his family maybe in a hotel, so they don't need to take care about anything. So it's just only our presence that can disturb them, but we are taking care about them for everything. So that's what we are doing.
What other creativity or ideas you have or you're already implementing into that scenario? I think, Sloan, you mentioned it, that you're starting to discuss how it's going to be this interaction between guest and receptionist, or that process when you arrive to the hotel, everything.
Yeah, I think we're in the short term and the midterm. Unfortunately, it is going to change some of that human element. I think what we're trying to do is we have, for front desk, we're purchasing masks that actually are clear, so that you can see human emotion, human expression. I think also having technology like a text-based concierge service where upon check-in you can have a lot of that guest interaction maybe over a mobile phone. Not quite as human as the human connection, but what we're coaching is social distancing, not emotional distancing. And so I think to the extent that the staff can continue to bring empathy to the guest, we're going to still be a place of hospitality. So I think it's a balance between safety and still delivering upon our service promise of, being a home away from home for people. And so I think several of the other folks got it right, that you have to also make a little bit, a little levity is a good thing. And so if you have signage in the public space, having some quick wit about it, we try to make fun of the fact that, that there are elevators. We try to, in certain cases, keep it to one, and, That's a limo service up to your floor of one. So any type of levity that you can inject, I think, also helps.
I think I would add, I mean, we, majority of our business is not business, so we have leisure. This is our clientele is mainly leisure customers. And we have not closed any of our properties at the moment. So in all of the properties, we have either the homeless people, or we have people that got stuck and stranded in the country and can't leave. Or we are working with the local embassies, and we accommodate people that the embassies needed to accommodate somewhere. And what we see, and what I see in all of our staff members as well, is actually exceptional customer service. Even though we installed plastic glass around all of the receptions, and it's a law here in Czech, you have to wear a face mask. We've had it for 2 months now, and that's going to remain for a while. And I don't actually see that the customer service that we've ever provided has been impacted. What I see, and the comments that we received from the guests that we currently have, is that we are delivering exceptional customer service. And I think, I love hospitality. And the reason why I even got into hospitality 16 years ago is because I love people. And all the people that work for us love people. And I think this is the beauty, is the human connection. And I think no PPE and no plastic walls will ever destroy that.
Absolutely agree. I think Ewan mentioned that before. Virginia, I know you have, as I said before, you're accommodating some NGOs in your properties. And we have a question here from Claire. She's asking, do you see a scope with continue with supporting vulnerable groups of people with accommodation once business resumes? In the UK, homeless people have been accommodated, which demonstrated that there is a will, there is a way. What do you think?
Yeah, look. I mean, if we talk about UK specifically, like say, this is one of those world events that let's hope we never see it again. But it should be nobody gets left behind, and it's amazing. You saw it in America, 9/11, when so many people in a country with different views all came together for one common cause and purpose, and we're seeing exactly the same thing in the UK, and people coming together, and whether hotels were going to be used as hospitals or whether they're going to be used to house the homeless, which is a big problem. It's a big problem in the UK anyway, especially in cities like Manchester. But I think that the short answer to the question is would we be prepared to do that, and will other hotels and hoteliers be prepared to do it? And I think the answer's got to be yes, if and when that problem becomes greater than it is today. And we've all the nobody left behind should apply to everybody, not just our staff.
Absolutely. And Virginia, I think you wanted to say something. Sorry.
No problem. I agree with him anyway. No, we do it all the year. We volunteer. We engage with community. We engage with in every country. We engage with volunteering, whether it's helping to clean the beach in Barcelona or giving food away. And we are very conscious. Our CEO Charlie, he has and is part of the company Movement on the Ground. There is an NGO, so we are really committed with the causes. And I think Babetta is super right. Like this hospitality world is like people love people. So it is not actually how it is the sense of helping out, right? So in the case of Babetta, that she's helping tons of people, and you can see is the best reward is seeing these people that you feel that you're helping out, and that's the biggest motivation you can have.
Helping communities, definitely. We could be talking here another chapter about that. I would love to do so. If you want to do it, we can talk about sustainability and helping communities. We have a question that is actually more regarding staff, and also how are we dealing with situations that we have that we could be encountering in our daily basis. For instance, Andra is asking, what is going to happen to the internships for students that follow a hospitality management bachelor? So we know that we have a lot of internships going, especially in big chains. So what's happening with them? The floor is yours.
Listen, I'm probably gonna sound like a broken record today. And by the way, well said, ladies, in terms of always remembering, and we're in the hospitality business, and we're here for a reason, and we are the best possible industry to handle something like this. But certainly we can't stop doing what we've always done. Again, I firmly believe that this is a temporary situation, and nobody left behind. So internships are critical. We've got to grow our talent in this business. You know, staffing in the hospitality industry over the last 2 years is really, really difficult. We admittedly have struggled to find really young, motivated, enthusiastic kids coming out of the internship programs that really want to grow and develop personally and professionally in the hospitality business. So that hasn't changed. That's not going away. And internships, of course, they remain. And actually, at Valor, we have a young leadership program in the UK. And if I actually think that program will grow. We're doing the same thing in the US, and in fact, more than ever, we need new talent coming into our business. So I don't see a change, and we're not allowing ourselves to think differently.
There's a lot of talk here in the Czech Republic. We've struggled attracting Czech nationals to work in hospitality industry. And for example, we as a company, 65% of all of our workforce is multinational and not Czechs. And there's currently, when I've been speaking to a lot of recruiters in the last couple of weeks, they're all really worried that actually hospitality will see a massive outflow of skilled workers, because people will be worried that if there will be a second wave of COVID or some pandemic in the future, as the experts are saying, it's very likely that people will feel that hospitality is not a safe and secure job, and that people will start questioning whether this is the right industry to be in. And again, I think we as leaders in our reciprocal countries really have to talk about this and ensure that this is not the case, and that people are not scared to work in hospitality.
Well, to be honest, I think we have to prepare for many other scenarios, not just upcoming pandemics. So they can be happy, and we can reassure them that, of course, we are going to be prepared, all of us, for any upcoming pandemic. But we have other, extreme other events, such the extreme weather events, or many other things that we have to be prepared for as well. As well as we have now a crisis committee for COVID-19. We should be prepared for other aspects that will impact our business. And that gets me into the next question from Rudolph, that we have a very active audience. I'm saying we have many questions. I can go to all of them. Rudolph from New York, he's asking us, do you have sustainable practices? If yes, how was COVID-19 impacted them? How do you see sustainability moving forward?
Well, the thing is that sustainability could be affected from all the DPI that you use every day, but there is always the possibility of reduce our environmental impact, and we have to find the right solutions. And maybe in the early beginning, maybe you have to you are going to take the first things you find, but then you can go forward with sustainability. I think that's important because as we know, hotels can have a really a deep impact on the environment, so we can make the difference for sure every day.
Absolutely.
I think at Remington, we're still trying to move forward on certain projects. The challenge is going to be a lot of the CapEx money that was going to be used for sustainability conversions, whether that's energy or in-room or other projects, waste management. you're going to have owner-funded capex is going to get curbed in a big way, and so I think that's going to be the limiting factor. Is there's just not as much money to invest in sustainability, but still very important. I mean, for example, all the U.S. brands were moving to containerless bath products. So all your soap and shampoo, pre-installed in the shower in the bathrooms, and now they've come out and said, hey, we're going to slow that requirement because there's an install cost to the owner. And so Hilton and Marriott have both come out and said they're going to prolong the install date of that project, which is centered around sustainability. So I think you'll still have a lot of sustainability initiatives move forward. Unfortunately, the crisis may delay implementation of some of those sustainability actions, particularly if there's a lot of capital requirements to convert something. I mean, a good example, most all of our hotels are LED. I have a few that aren't, and we were going to convert them this year. I may have to delay that project to next year.
Yeah, and I agree with Sloan. I think we're all going to continue doing what we were doing. I think there's no question as an industry that we're really focused on sustainability. We have a couple of properties, one in particular in South Africa called Spear, which is 98% self-sustaining and is a real leader in sustainability in Africa, and another one here in the US down at the Lodge at Gulf Park. However, anecdotally, if we take a step back just from hotels, one of the things that is actually quite encouraging is the fact that the planet today is healthier than it has been in centuries. And I don't know how much you follow that, which is a great thing. And I think outside of hospitality, I just hope the world leaders are paying attention, and we can continue to do all we're doing to minimize our carbon footprint. That's one of the real positives to come out of this. It's incredible to see when you see the stats. It's the carbon emissions are lower than they've been in the last 50 years. So we have to come back gentler on the planet, and hopefully everybody's seeing that we have a pretty heavy footprint. So as hospitality, we just have to do our part too.
I would say many things here, but one of the things we can pivot maybe, and we can use this moment to also implement environmental policies that don't require a huge amount of capex or investment, and we can start, but of course we need to understand that this moment is changing our plans, our budget, and everything, of course, as it can be in other ways. Would you like to add something, Babetta, Virginia? Because I have many questions here coming, so and the time is going so fast, so please tell me if you want to add something.
No, just a little note after Ian is that it's true that right now people are getting more comfortable with meetings like Zoom and in virtual meetings. So at my company also, the traveling will be reduced, so that's good for the environment. Because I think that the digital right now we are getting more used to everything, and that's also the bright side of this, if any, is environmentally we are more conscious, and perhaps we can reduce the traveling and just carry on with some virtual meetings. Although I don't think this will replace the face-to-face meeting and the contact, because people need to be in contact with people. We are human beings, but it will be a start of something.
And I'm just going to add, big changes don't happen that you go and do a big change. Big changes happen with lots of babies.
Yes.
We all get rid of the really tiny plastic bottles and just have big containers. And 80% of all hotels worldwide do it. Oh my God, it's a massive impact worldwide. So I think if someone's listening, don't stop what you're doing. Baby steps. And
step by step.
When you do lots of baby steps, then we're going to have a big impact.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. On the Virginia's note, so we have Rosa Maria asking us, how do you see corporate contracting season for 2021? This is huge because, of course, we have business travel now stopped, and for bigger urban hotels or bigger properties, corporate accounts is a huge percentage of our revenue. So how do you see that moving forward or 2021?
Well, maybe I can start since I was the last one talking.
Yeah.
Are already receiving a lot of comments, and lots of contractors are reaching out, and they want to sign contracts for 2021 and also 2022 actually.
Nice.
But what we are seeing is all of them are trying to push the price down, but not a little saving, but a lot of drastic changes. I'm talking 25% and more down on our rates. So this is what we're seeing. So at the moment, we are not contracting anything, and we're just waiting to see what's going to happen, because we can't afford to drop our rates by 30%, basically.
Yeah, look, I think certainly, you know, we're not seeing a huge amount of activity right now. Although to be fair, different properties in different regions, our booking pace is up, and we are getting the requests. Thankfully, we're not seeing what Babetta is seeing, which is great. I hope that doesn't come. And as a company, we've already agreed that this is not a time during a crisis not to get into a price war. And we will, as long as we can, we will definitely try and push back on that. But again, you know, this is the thing. Everything is fluid. We're dealing with this in real time, and you know, there was a lot of talk early on as you know what is happening to 20, and we were watching, you know, Q4, and now our conversation, you know, what does full year 21 look like, and you know, who comes back from the corporate transient, the leisure, and then who comes back in terms of groups? Is the business groups coming back? That you know, we have an annual conference in the US, Alice, the American Lodging Summit in California and LA, and already there's that will be cancelled for January, and for the hotels that host that. So I don't have the answer for what's going to happen, but we're watching it daily. But the booking cases are up, but it's a real market mix. We think the business will come back, and it'll come back slowly. And at the end of 2021, we think the business will be relatively strong. Not back to where it was in 19, but it'll definitely pick up.
Yes, actually some hotels, they already have some books. In books, they already have like maybe 30 or 40% of reservations for some months next year. So which is great. On that note that you were saying, Ewan, we couldn't hear you very clearly, but I think we got your message and what you were saying. We have Stacy saying that if these kind of all the cost that all the investment that we have to do for each property in terms of, you know, safety and PPEs and everything, this will impact in a way the room rates. She's asking, do you think she's worried that this will impact room rates, and room rates will be higher because we have to cover that cost, not just the bill for electricity and water our employees, but also this huge investment for the cleaning and sanitation and disinfection.
Well, I think unfortunately what's going to happen is you're going to have you're going to have rate dilution everywhere across the world. ADRs are going to decline, period. What you're going to have is profitability is going to be impacted. So hotel owners are going to struggle to add these costs. I think we're going to have to modify how we operate in other areas, or just assume you're going to have a lower margin business for a period of time. It's one of those two. And so I don't think that drives. I don't think rate goes up in any market in the next 12 months. And back to the question about the business transient, I sit on the American Hotel and Lodging Association board here in the U.S., and we're pushing the federal government to keep per diem rates flat. And I think any country should be doing that to try and keep the government rates flat. There's a lot of business that's tied to that. And not even have a negotiation process. We're also pushing the large chains to try and get large accounts to just assume 2020 pricing in 2021. I don't think many accounts or many sophisticated travel programs will want that to happen, because they know now is the time to negotiate down.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that you're going to see front and center is for the large corporate accounts, as they send out RFPs, safety requirements and cleaning, they may ask questions in the RFP about your cleaning standards that they never asked before. And I think that those will be key items in the RFP to be accepted besides just rates and inventory.
And that takes us to the previous question. So I know that in more RFPs, we are seeing questions about sustainability metrics as well. So this is going to be kind of the next scenario where we have more requirements. We have only 8 minutes left, and this is so interesting. I will be here all day. We have many questions. Let me take the last one before we kind of wrap it up, because I can answer all of the questions we have on that chat. We have Isabella asking, do you think online hotel distribution will change, and how? She says the market share distribution channels before coronavirus was relatively stable, and trends were showing the both OTAs and especially Booking.com distribution channels and wholesalers grew, while more channels with lower CPC or CPA lost share. Will that change now? So how do you see the distribution scenario? Hello, Babetta. I think you're struggling with your. Hello.
I'm back.
You're back.
Well, if we've learned from any other crisis or recession, I think that the 2 points I would make is, one, this will be a leisure-led recovery, at least in the U.S. So we expect domestic leisure demand to come back sooner than business, and much sooner than groups and meetings. And then secondly, in every prior recession in the U.S., the OTAs have gained market share because their model is to put price and choice in front of the customer. And I think ultimately we'll look back and this will allow Expedia and Booking Group to gain market share both in the U.S. and worldwide. And so I think that'll be, for us operators where that's a cost, will be an unfortunate outcome that will absolutely happen.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. They're just going to get stronger. And to come back to Sloan's earlier point as well, he's 100% right. This is not a time where we're going to see rate growth. It'll definitely be depressed. And yeah, we're going to have to learn to live with that for at least the next 4 quarters minimum.
Well, I think that this will happen above all for independent hotel, because of course OTA represents something that can secure them, secure people. So the guests feel more secure with making a reservation through OTA and not directly with an independent hotel. If we are able to also independent hotel share the right way to be on the market, and we're taking care about this moment for the guest request, of course we can make the difference. But I don't think that. I think that they are going to be stronger in the market anyway.
Yes. So before we finish, we have only less than 5 minutes left, because we spent we took many questions from the audience. The main thing here is this is an opportunity for us to actually improve our communication with our guests, positioning ourselves. I'm listening myself. I don't know why. Now? Yeah, now much better. Sorry, I don't know why I was hearing myself. So do you think this is an opportunity for us to improve our communication with guests, as well as positioning ourselves, and to your point, Laura, to maybe drive more direct traffic and avoid distribution cost as much as possible? And I don't know, use technology or social media or many different platforms, how we can present ourselves in a better way so we can attract the potential guests and explain them that we are safe, we are taking the right steps, that we care about them, and that we listen to their priorities and their requests. Do you think this is an opportunity? This is a question for all of you, but I'm asking to you first that you mention it, Laura.
I think that it is a real opportunity for us, because we are we have to think that this moment is a challenge also for us to change our way to communicate to the guest. And we are lucky because we have lots of opportunity with social media, with anything to be in touch with the guest before his arrival, and also after they left us, so we can deliver. So we can do that. We have just to do the right way. This means create a great relationship. It's not only a problem of loyalty, it's a relationship that we have to create, according to me, and we have the possibility to do that because we have all the instruments and they are really available for everyone because they are there and they are not so, they are affordable, also even affordable, so you don't have to spend so many money.
Yeah, exactly. I think now is the time to deepen relationships with end user, investors, stakeholders, employees. Now is the time, and to show, to show the value of your company and that you look after people. I think now you can. It's a great opportunity to adapt to the client needs, to listen what they want, to be in touch. We are in touch with our clients all the time, so we inform. We have systems with employees, to clients. I think, yeah, I think this is the time.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to ask, I'm going to go back to the OTA question. I'm going to ask Sloan because he was saying that he's on the board of the Hotel Association in USA. I mean, what we've seen here in Europe is basically the OTAs have taken a massive bully approach when the crisis started, and they started refunding reservations. I know Italy created a law to forbid them to do that. I also know that Hungary just got fined. The Hungarian government fined Booking.com for something. And I feel that now we have a chance as an industry to fight a little bit with the OTAs for their approach and how they basically bullied us and bullied operators into refunding money when we didn't have money. And I was wondering, I know here in Europe there's a lot of talks about associations working on this. So I was wondering what's happening in the US.
That hasn't come up, in terms of refunds and them forcing the hand. It's actually been a bigger issue with our brand partners, where Marriott and Hilton have done the same, where they've been pretty, forceful in wanting forgiveness of advanced deposits and that sort of thing, where it became a cash outflow problem for operators. So it's not been an issue. I think the American Hotel and Lodging Association has been so fixated on the legislation like the CARES Act to try and help stimulate, and also lending facilities to help the liquidity crisis, that the OTA and their behavior hasn't been. Now, I think in the US, 70% of the hotels are branded. Your OTA contribution in a branded hotel is more mid-teens versus an independent where you may be getting 40% from OTA. So I think it also has to do with the fact that the US is less OTA reliant than Europe. But it's something I'll take back to AH and LA post-COVID. And, we've been so fixated on the liquidity crisis that it's not been an issue that's come up. But it's a good point that they just kind of took it upon themselves to act without taking into account the impact on the owner. I think they have a history of doing that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm personally really sorry. I don't know whether you guys have seen the letter that Chesky wrote about Airbnb, because Airbnb wanted to create an OTA platform, which I was hoping that this is going to really help, especially the European market, OTA market. And unfortunately, now they pulled back. And I'm actually personally really sad, because I thought if someone can create another competition to Booking and Expedia, then so I'm sad. Yes.
Okay. No, definitely distribution is important, but here I just want to keep like a message for the audience as well. And as we are wrapping up, because it's already 3:00, and I apologize that I'm taking more of your time, and also the audience keeps answering questions. But as a generic idea here is more having a bi-directional Babetta, could you please mute yourself because I'm hearing myself talk? So how we can actually give a response for all our stakeholders or business stakeholders, and also caring about employees, keep them motivated, as well as contacting suppliers, and of course doing more for our potential guests coming to our properties. I think this is key, and I know you, for what you have explained, you're working towards that direction. But also, as a last note, and maybe you want to add something before we finish, and how we can also cooperate with our destinations, regions, and governments, so we can send that image of we are a safe place to stay, and then you can travel as soon as we reopen our borders. We maybe I would like to have your last insight about that, and then we will wrap it up. Maybe you want to start, Babetta, that I cut you. I'm sorry.
I don't have to start. Someone else can start this time. I'm gonna have a think.
Okay. Islam, I'm sure you're ready.
Sure. I think the thing to remember is travel is very resilient. This too shall pass. I think everywhere's got a little bit of a liquidity crisis, so that as much as we can help one another, and I think the U.S. is in a better position than some other countries, because I think it's going to be domestic travel's the name of the game this year. So I think every country needs to work hard on getting foreign inbound travel back to normal, hopefully sooner than later. And I think this will hopefully in the long term increase empathy for one another. And this will pass. It may be 12 months, it may be 24 months before it's fully behind us. But I think everyone listening in should say, hey, what can you learn from this? And how can you evolve your business to survive this, but also to thrive once this crisis has passed us?
Absolutely. Who wants to add the last insight?
Yeah, look, I said it earlier. Governments will do their part, but as a society and a community, we've all got to drive this. We can't let this become the new norm. I agree. I think in a year from now, the masks will be gone. We'll all be interdependent, interconnected again. We need travel. People need travel. We got to get these borders open back up. Like I was saying with South Africa, we need South Africa back and open for business, because society needs it. We can't have starvation in Africa over a crisis like this. So I've really enjoyed listening to everybody today, but I think we've got to stay super positive. This will pass, and we will get back to normal. But we've all got to do our part and really fight for that.
Absolutely agree. Are you ready now, Babetta? Have you had your 2 minutes thought?
No, the gentleman said it all. So I think we need to stay positive, and we all need to champion what we're saying, and it will pass.
Absolutely. Thank you, Babetta. Thank you very much. Virginia, you've been quiet. Tell us your insight on that.
Same as Babetta, I take it on this. Just keep positive and help as much as I can, as much as you can, and just move forward, and stay curious. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Laura, do you want to do the forward? Do you want to do the farewell for us?
Yes, of course. I think that I can just say one thing, that think that what for a caterpillar is the end of its life, it's the birth of a butterfly. So this means that everything will be good after.
Wow, I think I can't add anything else to that sentence. I really thank all of you for being here. Thank you for your time. I know even though some hotels are closed, you're still busy. You're trying to fight and do things to keep business running. So thank you very much to all of you. It's been a pleasure to share this hour and already 5 minutes that we are passing. Thank you. If you need something, you can also ask us on LinkedIn anything you need. We can share each other and share some insights and help each other in any way we can. And as a last insight, I would love to close saying that what Ewan said as well, that it's very important that we keep business moving, because of course we impact communities. It's not just about, of course, Africa, but of course here the impact is in jobs, economy. So we need to keep things moving as quick as we can, but being safe. So thank you very much all for joining today. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
We're holding on to something more, and this is what we came